Hi, this is Stacy coming to you from the Poppy Pavilion, and welcome to Double Vision. This is a show where me and my lovely and talented friend Bridget, aka Bird, take identical items and upcycle them in our own unique and unexpected ways. So for more on this, let's cut to Bird. Take it away, girl.
Thank you, Stacy. I'm Bird, here in the Crafty Conservatory. However, there's no telling where I'll be crafting next. Like Stacy said, we will be taking the same exact items and using our skills that we have gained along our craft journeys and giving you just as much inspiration as possible. Our first identical items, these cute little shelves. I have started working on mine already, but here's what they look like prior. Okay, let's not waste any time and jump right in. Let's go back over to Stacy and see what she's starting with.
Hi, I'm back. I'm not one of those crafters that can paint stuff and do crafts and keep my lovely shirt and table immaculate. So I changed into my paint shirt, put some craft paper down on my tablecloth. Okay, so here are the materials I'm working with. There's the shelf, some different paints, Mod Podge, sandpaper, brushes and a palette, and then we have napkins that I'm using decoupage, a sticker, and a plaque. Hey Katniss, do you want to paint too? Is that what you want to do? I don't think you do, and I know I don't. So you're probably gonna have to go, my friend. So first thing I'm gonna do is remove these pegs. They are off center, they bother me. Bird said you can kind of maneuver them off. So we are going to give that a try. Oh, hey, there you go. And I may use these again for another project, so get rid of that. Put those over there. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna pull out our sandpaper. It's a little bumpy on the side. I just want to kind of push that down a little bit. Now we are going to paint it black. Paint it black. Do, 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 do. Paint it black. Okay, if I could get that open. Okay. So we are going to do that real quick. And here's the speed up stuff. And the sponge brush is great for getting into the little crevices. And you don't have to do the back because it's going to be up against the wall, but if you want to, you can. So I'm leaving the top not painted black for a reason I will discuss later. All right. Okay, so there's the first coat done. While we're waiting for that to dry, let's go check in with Bird and see what she's up to.
Bird here. I started with taking off the hardware and the pegs and straight into sanding my project down so I could have everything smooth as I got started. Definitely don't skip this step. Make sure you clean up your piece so that any other creativity that flows into this design just comes easier. So I made some clear resin and I put gold flakes in there. Took some resin tape, put it on the back of my shelf to allow me to pour resin down into that shape. There we go. Boom! And then just slowly pour resin. When you're pouring resin, you definitely want to be sure to pour slow. Pouring slowly and applying heat every so often helps the bubbles get smaller. Your resin piece will look clear and just more well thought out and put together.
Hi, I'm back, and so is Katniss. While you were away, I gave this a second coat of the black paint. Oh, Katniss, you're silly. Second coat of the black, and then I painted the top white. And the reason I did that is because we are going to decoupage with napkins. And when you decoupage with a napkin or tissue, it's really helpful to have a lighter background so that the design really pops. Okay? So, unfortunately, I realized that this shelf is just a little too short to do this whole napkin. So, either my choices are that I can do two and layer them, or I can just do one and kind of have a make it work moment. So, for simplicity, we're going to do that. Okay? So, first thing you're going to do, I already cut this down to an appropriate size. You're going to peel it apart. Napkins are generally 3 layers. So you're going to take it down to the layer that has the print on it. Okay? And then those, you can use your Kleenex for later. Okay. Then we are going to take Mod Podge. We're going to take Mod Podge and put it on here. Just even coat. Doesn't have to be super thick, but you know, you want a good even coat. Okay. I use the sponge brush to squish more out so it's nice and fully coated and smooth. Okay. Then I'm going to put this over. I want to line it up properly. Okay, with this. This is kind of on that top edge. This goes underneath. Okay. I'm smoothing it down. Okay. There you go. Okay, beautiful. And yes, there are white edges that we're gonna deal with. So Katniss is crawling over the table. So how we're gonna fix this mess? So what we're gonna do is some black paint and put it on the side here. Be real careful. Now, had I realized this ahead of time, I would have done this first off, but, you know, whatevs. And then also, while that's drying, I took my little circle and I painted it gold, and I decoupaged this beautiful sunflower sticker right on top of it. And then I sort of put some gold around it so it blended in better. And that's kind of what we're going to do on this when it dries. Okay, now that the black is dry, I'm going to put a little bit of this gold paint right here. I'm going to kind of do it in a spongy way so it sort of looks, you know, vintage, like the gold is coming off a little bit. You can also use like a gold wax or like rub and buff, something like that. This is kind of the cheater's way, I guess, but whatever. Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna kind of do that on the side a little bit, so it kind of blends with the napkin and it looks intentional instead of like the napkin was too small. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. And let's go see what Bird's been up to.
All right, you guys. Now, here's the shelf. Resin has cured. It worked out beautifully. I absolutely love it. It's really cute. It made that heart just come to life. So now I'm gonna grab my drill and my Dremel. I have a dowel and a gold hook that I want to put on the shelf. I also need my glue to add the pegs back, and then the Dremel is going to create a nice little indentation for this guy to go into so it doesn't slide. Let's get started. So I was looking at my shelf and I decided I want it to have a little more character. I went in and drew in some fern doodles. Followed by that, I went over my doodles with a wood burner. All right, you guys, so here is a closer view of our shelf. After adding the little fern greenery wood burn, we have an added hook, and the pegs are glued back in there. So now I'm gonna go in with some green stain inside those leaves just to add a little pop. So let's do that. Okay, it's a little hard to see with the light and it's still wet, but there's the pop of green. It's like darker when it's on the wood grain. It's so pretty. I'm gonna let it dry, wipe away any excess that I have, and then add my wax finish. So naturally, before adding any kind of wax finish, you want to make sure you have all of your final touches done. I forgot I was gonna go in with the diamond tipped on my rotary tool and make an indentation for that little ceramic succulent piece that I had. So that is what I am doing here. Okay, here's the shelf. Little ceramic piece. Isn't going anywhere. It's not the prettiest. It is by no means a perfect circle, but perfectly imperfect does its job. So that was fun. Now we're gonna sand it, fine tune it, and then we're gonna give this bad boy a nice finish with a wax finish that I have. As I'm finishing up my piece, just want to make sure there's plenty of the wax on there. You can always go put another coat, but in a little bit after I let it dry for a bit, I'm going to go with a rag and buff it. I'll probably end up doing another coat just in case there were spots that I forgot or missed, even though I'm pretty confident that there's not. Look how cute. Also, the green ended up coming off of my fern wood burnt doodles, so scratch that idea. Something went wrong. The wood did not want to absorb, and I noticed it was kind of sitting on top of the wood, but trial and error. Go with the ebbs and flows of creativity. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay, and while we're waiting for that gold paint to dry, we're gonna take our little plaque and we're gonna put it on here. One reason I'm doing this is because I am not super fond of the heart. It doesn't really fit in with the sort of decor that I'm doing in here. So it's just kind of an easy way to cover that up because it goes all the way through. So I do some wood glue on here and very healthy dose. And then I'm gonna put it right on. And here we go. I like that, I think that looks pretty. Okay, now, this is mostly dry now. So the next step, or the final step I should say, is to seal it with Mod Podge. Now I'm using satin, which is between gloss and matte, so it's medium shiny, but you can use whatever you want. Now, I'm going to do this by doing it kind of spongy. The reason is I don't want to rip the napkin, and sometimes if you are a little too enthusiastic with the brush, you can rip it doing that. So we're gonna kind of do it this way. Okay. And then kind of smooth it out a little bit, just gently. Okay. Now that will cause it to bubble somewhat, but that's okay. You can fix that later. But don't try to fix it now while it's wet. That doesn't. Wait till it's a little drier, more like, you know, kind of a tacky. Okay. If you do it while it's wet, you really run the risk of ripping it. Once it's a little bit tacky, like it's still not totally dry, take a piece of parchment paper, or you can use saran wrap, something that won't really stick, and then you can kind of flatten it out. Okay, once that's dry, you're gonna put on another coat and try to go the opposite direction from where you did, and then do the same thing over again. Let it dry a little until it's almost dry, and then smooth it out. Sometimes I just build it up and put a bunch of coats on, probably more than I need to, but I just want to make sure it's, you know, totally sealed, and that it's, you know, the more coats you put on, the more it almost feels like it's been like enameled onto the wood instead of just a thing that's glued on top, you know. So that's up to you. I will not show you me coating this over and over and over, but just know that I did that. Okay, Stacy out. All right, we're gonna let this dry and see what Bird's up to, and then when we come back, I will show you how I styled it. Okay.
Thank you so much, Stacy. All right, you guys, we're going into the final touches on my shelf. We're going to take a rag, buff out the wax. I go in and I reapply the original hardware that came on the back of the shelf. I also drilled a small hole into the front right side of my shelf so I could glue in a wooden dowel that will be used specifically for hair ties. There it is. Now let's go see Stacy's shelf.
Okay, so here's the finished shelf in all its beauteousness. I love it. It's really cute. And here's how I styled it. I put on my fine pig and my sunflowers. I love it. So thanks for crafting with us, and let's go see how Bird styled her shelf.
All right, you guys, here's my little shelf in all of its glory. I absolutely adore it. It is going to be very useful next to my bed, and it will replace that lamp to the right is where I used to hang all of my accessories and hair ties. Thank you so much for crafting with us.
Like, subscribe, and share this video to help our channel grow.
And be sure to stay tuned to see what we'll be doing next. Our next video will be out soon.
Which one of our pets will make an appearance? You'll just have to wait and see.
And click the links below to check out our Etsy shops and see what we're doing on social media.
See you next time. Bye.
Ciao.